Hi, so that's really awkward. Hi. So my name is Abby. I am currently 25 weeks and 2 days pregnant with twin boys, and I have an almost 1-year-old daughter who's currently taking a nap, and I just kind of wanted to document kind of like my story, what I'm going through, just for me to remember, because with mom brain and pregnancy brain, I'm already like don't remember things, and also my life is gonna get really crazy in the next couple months, so yeah. And if anyone wants to watch, hi. I usually do not look like this. Just had a rough weekend, been sick. My daughter is currently sick, and this is my only time to film because she's napping and I will lose motivation. I don't want to lose motivation. So let's get into the story of how I found out I was pregnant and how I found out that it was baby 2 and 3. Sorry if I'm out of breath, like low-key getting over cold, and also like there's a baby in my ribs. So yeah, so it all started back in July. It was my husband's birthday, and he's in the military, and we are stationed about 4 hours away from where our families live, and we're very, very lucky for that. So we went home to visit. It was his 21st birthday. I was already 21 because I'm 3 months older than him. And excuse me. So before I had my daughter, my cycle was always on time. Always. It was always 28 days cycles. Very rarely was it 29 days. And since I had her, my cycle was between 30 and 31 days. And that was like consistent. Except for the period, the cycle before I got pregnant with the twins. It was 28 days. But again, it was the only one in 6 months that was. So that's a little bit of a backstory. So when we went home, I was about 29 days. Yeah, about 29 days. It was a Friday. And I wasn't worried about it because, again, I was having cramps. I was having symptoms of a period. And I was like, it's usually late. Like, not going to worry about it. Like, this is still early. Consider the past 6 months. So we went out to a Mexican restaurant, and I got a drink that I usually get. And I was drinking it, and I couldn't drink it. It was disgusting to me. I was like, I can't do it. And I thought maybe it was like the way the restaurant made it or whatever. I didn't think anything really of it. So fast forward, I was peeing a lot, but I also was drinking a lot. So fast forward, other than that, we went through the weekend, and I mentioned to my husband on, excuse me, I'm so sorry, on Saturday night that my period wasn't here yet. It was day 30. I was like, it's not here yet. Just want to let you know. Like, he was like, okay, like, do you think you are? And I was like, nah, like, probably not. I was like, if anything happens, then it happens. But I didn't think anything of it. So we got home, and on Monday, I think it was day like 31 or 32. Can't really remember. Can't do math. And I was like, okay, I need to take a test. So we went to the store, and I somehow snuck a pregnancy test, and I got a box of 2. It was like off-brand digital, because with my daughter, I took a line test, and that is a whole other crazy story. And it wasn't clear, so I just wanted to make sure it was clear, and I knew, like, pregnant or not pregnant. And so I got it, and I snuck it upstairs. I took the test while he was downstairs with our daughter. She was 7 months old at the time. And I took it, and I remember sitting there. I was like, my heart was beating so fast, and I was sitting there. I was like, I can't be pregnant. I can't do this. Like, I can't have 2 under 2. Like, I can't do this. And I've never felt that way before, because with Savannah, like, yeah, she was unexpected, but it was still exciting because we were talking about having a baby, and like, I don't want to say the twins weren't exciting, but at that point it wasn't. Like, to be honest, like, I had a 7-month-old daughter, and I was on birth control. I was on Nora B, the mini pill, because I was breastfeeding her, and I also have like medical reasons of why I can't really take estrogen based birth control. And I knew I was taking it like good. Well, sorry, I knew I was taking it well. So it's like, they're like, this can't be, like, there's no way, it's just the birth control affected me, something. So I looked at the test, and sure enough, it was pregnant. And I can't really explain to you what I felt in that moment. It was kind of just like blank. Like, I was like, okay. So I got up, I hid it under the sink, and I went downstairs. And I was gonna just surprise him some way, because we had agreed on 2 kids, unless both were girls, and then we would consider a third. But funny joke. Anyway, but I couldn't. Like, I got to the bottom of the stairs, I saw his face, and I was like, you need to come here. So we put Savannah in her bouncer, we put the monitor on her so we could keep an eye on her, and we came upstairs, and I showed him the test, and I just started sobbing my eyes out. And he was kind of confused, because I was like sobbing my eyes out, like I couldn't even talk, and he was just looking at this pregnancy test like, what? And he kept asking me if it was real, if it was a prank, like what's going on. And I was like, it's real, like I just took it. And he asked if I had another one, and I said yes. He was like, just take it, make sure, we'll go from there. So I did. It was said pregnant very quickly, and he was like, okay, we can figure this out, like it'll be fine, like just calm down, like you need to breathe. And finally I calmed down, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So we went downstairs, we just hung out with our daughter, we fed her dinner, we ate dinner, and we kind of just absorbed the information. And we ended up going back home. We had plans to go back home to kind of have like a weekend out to celebrate his 21st birthday, which is funny because I just found out I was pregnant. But my dad had got us a hotel in like this downtown area of where we live. My mom was gonna watch Savannah for us, and we were gonna go out for a night, just be 21. And I couldn't do that. So that following weekend we went home. We told everyone like what was going on, my parents and his parents. They were happy. My mom was kind of like taken aback. Like, they reacted a lot better than I thought they would. A lot better than I did. So that's good. Again, we'll do a whole nother story if anyone wants to hear that someday. But so we went, and his parents were gonna meet us there because I couldn't drink and I felt bad. So his dad was gonna drink with him. And I started feeling pain in my right side, and I was feeling this pain since I had Savannah, and I thought like it was just gas, because I mentioned it and she was like, it's probably just gas, you know, your body's still adjusting. I was like, whatever. So I thought it was gas, so I took gas pills and whatever. It was minor, it didn't really bother me at that point. And I remember my daughter I needed to go home, and we were only 30 minutes away from where my mom was. So Cole's mom drove me home to see her, so I could put her to bed because she was having a hard time. And I remember I ate a couple french fries, and when we were on the way back, the pain got worse. Like, it was really uncomfortable, and I took more gas medicine, and I drank some water, and it died off a little bit, but it was still there. And then when we got back to the hotel, like, Cole was drunk, bless his heart. We got back to the hotel, and we were gonna go to bed because it was late, and it started getting really, really bad, like, especially when I lay down. So I had to get in the bath, and like I was moving, I wouldn't stop. And finally Cole went down to the lobby and got me some Tylenol. I waited until like 3 a.m. because he was passed out, and I didn't have any Tylenol because I was like newly pregnant, and Tylenol, I don't take Tylenol when I'm not pregnant. So it ended up going away. I got a couple hours of sleep, and then we ended up going out to eat with his parents before we headed home. And I ate a hamburger. And on our way home, I started feeling that pain again in the same exact spot. Usually when I got this pain, it was in my back. It wasn't like in my right rib region, but it was. And it was actually pretty painful. It was painful for about an hour and a half, and I took Tylenol, it didn't do anything. And so I called my mom. She's like, it might be your gallbladder, just keep an eye on it. So I decided that if it hurt the next day after I ate, I would go to the doctor, on base, urgent care, whatever. So sure enough, I ate lunch, and it was dumb of me. I purposefully ate a big lunch to kind of see, like, not a big lunch, like a unhealthy lunch, to see if it would trigger it, because I wanted to know, and it did, and I regret it. It wasn't that painful at first. So I went to the ER. They put me, so like how the military hospital works here is they have an urgent care side and an ER side. You go through triage and they pick where you go. And they put me in the ER side, and they were out of rooms, so they put me in a trauma room. And so I was sitting there in a trauma room, like in pain, and they're like, they stuck me with an IV. Didn't attach an IV though. That's important information. They said, we'll be back with some pain medicine. I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. It's like 2 hours later, they came in and they did an EKG on my heart. I think that's what it's called, to make sure it wasn't my heart, and they took blood. And they said nothing abnormal was there. And then, mind you, the doctor hadn't come in yet. And it was 5 hours. 5 hours. And nobody brought me an IV. Nobody gave me water. Nobody gave me pain medicine. And I was like sitting there in this trauma room. It was very hot. And finally the doctor came in. He's like, we don't know what it is. I'm just going to prescribe you Tylenol and send you home. And I just started crying because I was like, this is frustrating. Like, I've been in pain for 5 hours. Like, it's not going away. And usually it goes away within 30 minutes to an hour. But it was not going away. And my husband was like, what if it's gallstones? And he was like, well, we only know if it's an ultrasound, and I don't know. And there was like a cheaper ultrasound machine that they keep in like the rooms. And he was like, I can do one really quick. And he saw what he said could be he was like, that looks like a stone, but I'm not going to diagnose you with it. Just don't come back unless you're running a fever or whatever. So I was like, okay. I was really frustrated at the point. I was like, okay, I have a gallstone. Mind you, I went home and the pain got so bad. The pain lasted from the time I ate lunch to the middle of the night. So about 20 hours total that pain lasted. And I was very careful about what I ate for the next week. I had pain here and there, but nothing too bad. So on Saturday, we went out with our friends. And that morning, I ate breakfast. I ate plainest breakfast. It was like legit egg whites with vegetables. And I felt this extremely painful pain in my stomach. Like, it was like in my chest where my heart was. And I was freaking out. I got in the shower. Like, the only thing that would help was heat with the pain. I got in the shower and I I thought it was like a gas bubble. I tried rocking back and forth, and it finally calmed down a little bit after about 15 minutes, and it was awful, but it felt like my stomach was full of air. Like, it felt like it was full. So I was like very uncomfortable, and we went out because it was tolerable at that point, and it got worse and worse and worse. And mind you, I ate at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and like 8 or 9 in the morning. At about 7 o'clock at night, when I laid my daughter down for bed, I had enough. I had not eaten. I was feeling so bad, and I finally was like, I made myself throw up because it was like awful, and it made me feel better. But when I threw up, probably TMI, none of the food that I had eaten that morning was digested. Like, none of it. It was literally like I chewed it and then spit it out. Like, didn't even swallow it. Which is probably really gross. But I felt better, and I went to bed. When I woke up in the morning, I had a pain in my back. Like, my right side of my back. And it wasn't too bad, though. I got up, I fed Savannah, like Cole was sleeping. Usually Sunday is his day to sleep in. And it started getting really bad. I drank some water. I couldn't eat. Like, I was trying to eat a graham cracker. Couldn't eat it. And I knew it wasn't pregnancy nausea. And so I woke up my husband. I asked him to watch Savannah, and I got in the shower, and I was sitting there, and I was like something's wrong. And I started to go to the bathroom, and it was like dark, like really, really yellow pee. I know it's TMI too, and also like other things were white when I went to the bathroom, which is not normal. And so I was like, I need to go to the ER, just to make sure. And so I did. They immediately got me back in a room, and they immediately gave me fluids, and they immediately gave me morphine, which it was instant relief, thank God. Because what happened was when I went to go pee in the cup, it was really thick, and they were like, okay, we're worried about this. They instantly tested it, and they came at me. They're like, your liver levels are a little concerning. We are gonna do an ultrasound, figure out what's going on. So I did an ultrasound, and sure enough, I had stones, but they couldn't see what was causing the issues I was having. They could tell there was a blockage, but they didn't know specifically where. And they transferred me to a different hospital via ambulance. Mind you, it was a 2-hour ride, and it was like 9 o'clock at night at this point because they took a while. They transferred me to a different hospital via ambulance. It was my first time in an ambulance, and we got Savannah taken care of. My husband met me, and they took me down. It was like 2 in the morning at this point for an emergency ultrasound. So they did an ultrasound, and the lady didn't say anything. I was a little bit concerned because she was taking a lot longer than normal to do the ultrasound. And she was like, oh, I'm just checking her ovary or something like that. She didn't say anything, so I did ask my nurse. I was like, when she was wheeling me to the MRI, because I had to get an MRI, she was like, I asked, does the baby look fine? And she was like, yeah, the baby looks good. So I was like, okay, great. Baby. And so I got my MRI done and everything. It was like 11 o'clock the next morning because we had to wait. I had to do 2 MRIs. It was awful. I do not suggest those. And they came in, a surgeon came in, and he told me that there was a stone blocking my liver and my pancreas, and that neither of them were working properly. So that explains the pain in my stomach and everything like that. Mind you, I hadn't eaten in like almost 48 hours. I was starving. And so he was like, congrats on the twins, by the way. And I was like, haha, funny joke, because she said baby. So I was like, that's a funny joke. And I didn't believe him. Like, he kept saying it. And I was like, we didn't believe him. And so he explained the surgery, whatever. And I was like, it was an emergency. And so I had, like, he explained the surgery, and within an hour, I was already going to the pre-op room. Goodness gracious. So I sat there, and they were on the phone, and he was like, yeah, Abby, the one with the twins. And I was like, I looked at my nurse, he's like, is he serious about the twins? And me and my husband looked at each other. I hear banging. Hold on. Well, probably a murderer, but oh well. So we looked at each other, and we were like, and the nurse looked at my chart, and she was like, oh, you didn't know? And I was like, no. She was like, yeah, it's twins. And I was like, oh my God. It was crazy. Everybody was taken aback, but anyway, I was fine. The surgery went well, and we found out we were having twins, and it was crazy. This video is all over the place, and I apologize for it, but that's how we found out I was pregnant. And within 2 weeks, I found out I was having twins, which twins do not run in any of our families. So that information was insane to find out. So yeah, it's very exciting. But yeah, that's how it went, and I'm awkward, and awkward. No one should be watching me. It's okay. But yeah, so that's my story so far. I'll probably do more. like a pregnancy, how my pregnancy has been or whatever, just for me. But that's like my first video and it's already 20 minutes, so